Hello, I'm Ezra Levant. It's November 11th, Remembrance Day, and you're watching a special issue of Battleground. No fancy opening graphics today, my friends. Instead, we're talking about Don Cherry, who on his regular perch on Hockey Night in Canada made reference to the poppy and the fact that, as I'm sure it's not news to you, very few people are wearing them, at least in Toronto, the center of the universe and where the media headquarters and so much of official Canada takes place. And it's true. Just my own informal meanderings show maybe a few percent of people wear it. I'm not saying that not to wear it is a grave sin, but when 99% of people don't wear it, it's obviously lost its custom. It's a custom that we're losing. This morning I went out and about, and the only person I saw in my journey who wore it was a traffic cop, someone actually giving parking tickets, not even a real cop. I was on a bus. I know, I can't believe I was taking a bus either. I was on a bus, and 4 people had it. It was a packed bus, out of the whole bus. It's sort of obvious that we've forgotten or we don't care, and that's the official position in Canada from the top down. I mean, Justin Trudeau so obviously doesn't care about our veterans. He, as he famously said, they're just asking for more than he can give. And those are the veterans who are wounded and need his help, but the war dead, he positively doesn't give a damn. I recall that on the, I think it was the first anniversary or the second anniversary of Nathan Cirillo's murder, Justin Trudeau simply stopped having a ceremony. He just doesn't give a damn. Well, an old-timer who does give a damn is Don Cherry, a famous Canadian who is beloved by the people but despised by the establishment. I don't think he has an Order of Canada. How's that even possible? It seems like everybody at the CBC is given an Order of Canada. It's like every quarter they give who's the next CBCer today. How did Don Cherry avoid that? Well, it's obvious, because he was the lone conservative voice of that network for years. Hockey Night in Canada is no longer owned by CBC. It's a different consortium. They lease the rights to the CBC. But let me show you, without further ado, what Don Cherry said. Let's play this, and I'll probably play it a second time as we pay very close attention to his words. Do we have that clip ready? Here's Don Cherry on Hockey Night in Canada.
You know, I was talking to a veteran. I said, I'm not going to run the poppy thing anymore, because what's the sense? I live in Mississauga. Nobody wears, very few people wear a poppy. Downtown Toronto, forget it, downtown Toronto. Nobody wears a poppy. And I'm not going to. He says, wait a minute. How about running it for the people that buy them? Now, you go to the small cities, and you know those, the rows on rows, you people love, they come here, whatever it is, you love our way of life, you love our milk and honey. At least you could pay a couple of bucks for poppies or something like that. These guys pay for your way of life that you enjoy in Canada. These guys paid the biggest price. Anyhow, I'm going to run it again for you great people and good Canadians that bought a poppy. I'm still going to run it. Anyhow, love you for it.
Now, there's a few things to note there. You may be thinking, okay, where's the racist part? Because all I could hear all weekend on Twitter and on every radio station this morning, especially his former station of CBC, were attacks on this racist man. Did he mention race? Did he use the word immigrant? He did say people who come to Canada for its milk and honey and love the fruits of things paid for by soldiers past. What's the racism part there? Is that not absolutely, completely true? My own anecdotal observation tells me there are very few people who wear poppies. What is the racist part there? And you'll notice Ron McClean, who was right there, nodding along, and ended with a thumbs up. And he threw his old friend under the bus. Do we have, here's Ron McClean. Let's play it one more time. So pay attention. It's almost, I mean, I first saw the outrage on Twitter before I saw the original comments by Don Cherry. And I thought, oh, did he say something about black people? Did he say something about Muslims? Did he say something? What did he say? It was racist. Did he say, I hate immigrants, ban immigrants? Did he say any? He just said, if you've come to Canada for the milk and honey that was paid for in blood, he wasn't so dramatic, buy a poppy. What, I'm still waiting for the bad part. Here, watch it again. Listen to his exact words, and out of the corner of your eye, watch Ron McClean.
You know, I was talking to a veteran. I said, I'm not going to run the poppy thing anymore because what's the sense? I live in Mississauga. Nobody wears, very few people wear a poppy. Downtown Toronto, forget it, downtown Toronto. Nobody wears a poppy. And I'm not going to. He says, wait a minute. How about running it for the people that buy them? Now, you go to the small cities, and you know those, the rows on rows, you people love, they come here, whatever it is, you love our way of life, you love our milk and honey. At least you could pay a couple of bucks for poppies or something like that. These guys pay for your way of life that you enjoy in Canada. These guys paid the biggest price. Anyhow, I'm going to run it again for you great people and good Canadians that bought a poppy. I'm still going to run it. Anyhow.
Love you for it.
Love you for it, says Ron McClean before. Give him a wink and a thumbs up. Okay, so I don't know how many times I've watched it now. I'm still waiting for the racist part. He's not saying immigrants get out. He's saying for those of you who came to our country for its fruits, milk and honey, as he said, wear a poppy for those who paid the ultimate price for it. Yeah. Where's the bad part there? I'll read the super chats later. Thanks very much, Primpal08. I'll get back to that one later, and I'll get back to the other super chats as we go. What's the racist part there? What's the bigoted part? Did he say get out? He said, remember. That's why it's called Remembrance Day. And spend $1 on a poppy to thank those who paid the ultimate price. I mean, he said it better than I just did, obviously. Completely unobjectionable, which is why Ron McClean did not object, and nor did anyone else, until the professional complainers, the deplatformers, the virtue signalers, and basically every liberal in the country who hates Don Cherry thought, oh, we got him now. You got him on what, mate? You got him on what? Now, Don Cherry has not bent the knee on this. He will not apologize. What's there to apologize for? Which part? Where he said, newcomers, you love our milk and honey. Is that to be apologized for? You should buy a poppy. Is that to be apologized for? The soldiers paid the ultimate price. Is that like what? I'm just play it one more time. Just one more time. I'm just trying to see what the problem here is. Let's just look at it one more time, and then we'll go to the Sportsnet apology, and then we'll go to Ron McClean's apology. I'm just trying to figure out what was done wrong. Take a look.
To a veteran, I said, I'm not going to run the poppy thing anymore because what's the sense? I live in Mississauga. Nobody wears, very few people wear a poppy. Downtown Toronto, forget it, downtown Toronto. Nobody wears a poppy. And I'm not going to. He says, wait a minute. How about running it for the people that buy them? Now, you go to the small cities, and you know those, the rows on rows, you people love, they come here, whatever it is, you love our way of life, you love our milk and honey. At least you could pay a couple of bucks for poppies or something like that. These guys pay for your way of life that you enjoy in Canada. These guys paid the biggest price. Anyhow, I'm going to run it again for you great people and good Canadians that bought a poppy. I'm still going to run it. Anyhow.
Love you for it.
Is it the you people? What's the difference between you and you people? I'm not quite sure. You people come here and love our way of life. Yeah. The least you can do is buy a poppy. Yeah. And for you good people who buy them, that doesn't imply that they're not new immigrants. Could he have wordsmithed it a touch smoother? Yeah, but he's Don Cherry. He doesn't do that. He's from the cuff. He has malapropisms, as in he sometimes makes up words or says things funny. Kookaloo. I think he invented that word. I mean, everyone knows exactly what he means. He means Canadians paid the price over the last century and longer. You come here to enjoy the Canada that they died to build. You can chip in to wear a poppy. Yes, absolutely. And that is a source of outrage. Here's what the TV network published, Sportsnet. Don's discriminatory comments are offensive and they do not represent our values and what we stand for as a network. We have spoken with Don about the severity of this issue, and we sincerely apologize for these divisive remarks. Bart Yabsley, is that even a real name? President, Sportsnet. Keep this up on the screen for a second. How is a remark discriminatory? I guess discriminatory means to choose, or to choose between things. Yeah, he says you either buy a poppy or you don't. If you do buy a poppy, you're a good people, you probably heard him say at the end. Offensive. Yeah, everything's offensive to someone. They do not represent our values and what we stand for as a network. And what is that? You stand for people to come here and take the fruits of Canada but not even wear a bloody poppy? What values does he violate? We have spoken with Don about the severe, this was a severe issue, guys. And we sincerely apologize for these divisive remarks. To divide people from those who buy poppies from those who don't. That's what he was doing on purpose. This is a severe issue, people. What a loser Bart Yabsley is, and Sportsnet, and I wish they could lose all their shareholder value over their wokeness there. But Bart Yabsley, if that is his real name, is a nobody. He's a nothing. He's a corporate suit. He's, you know, probably paid some woke PR firm $10,000 to write that tweet for him. May they lose many, many dollars. But Ron McClean, whose whole life, whose whole career has been made by Don Cherry, the straight man. It was like Johnny Carson, and I forget the name of the guy who would say, "You're right, Johnny." I forget his name. The guy who his job was to say, "You're right." You know, Ed McMahon, I think was his name, something like that. I can't even remember. That's the point. He's not memorable. Johnny Carson was the memorable one. Don Cherry's a memorable one, and Ron McClean's a straight man who owes everything to Don Cherry. But in his own way, he's like Bart Yabsley, and he's a coward. And here's what he said right afterwards.
Address what happened last night on Hockey Night in Canada. Don Cherry made remarks which were hurtful, discriminatory, which were flat out wrong. We at Sportsnet have apologized. It certainly doesn't stand for what Sportsnet or Rogers represents. We know diversity is the strength of the country. We see it in the travels with our show and with Hockey Night in Canada. So I owe you an apology too. That's the big thing that I want to emphasize. I sat there, did not catch it, did not respond. Catherine Tenise, Tsuut'ina First Nation, once said, in any wrongdoing, the real key is recognition and acknowledgement. And I wanted to let you know that first, and then you work on the relationship so that it isn't divisive, so that something can be a unifying event. Idle No More was a great lesson to all of us. Last night was a really great lesson to Don and me. We were wrong, and I sincerely apologize, and I wanted to thank you for calling me and Don on that last night.
Tell you what, if that's how a friend treats you, he ain't a friend. Discriminatory, hurtful, flat out wrong. It's not what we stand for. That's against diversity. What do you mean diversity? Don said, hey, everybody, including newcomers, buy a poppy. Oh, you're against diversity, Don. I owe you an apology. I sat there and did not respond. Don't lie, Ron. Don't lie. You nodded and you gave the thumbs up because there was nothing wrong at all. You hypocrite, you liar, you underminer, you Judas. And then, I don't know more. You're bringing in Aboriginal issues. I don't know more has taught you a lot, Ron. You couldn't be whiter if you were a snowfall in Calgary. But you're invoking I don't know more, and you once talked to an Aboriginal woman who told you something cool. What are you doing? But I think the grossest part was it's been a lesson to Dawn and me. Now, I think you can speak for yourself, you Quisling. But I don't think you can speak for Dawn on this one. You weren't apologizing on his behalf, you liar. You were throwing him under the bus. Can you call up Joe Warmington's piece? Joe Warmington, who's a better friend to Don Cherry than Ron McClean the Quisling, talked to Don Cherry, who said he ain't apologizing. So, Warmington, no apology from Don Cherry on poppy comments. First, Don Cherry called out those not wearing poppies. Now others, including his own network, are calling him out. Blah, blah, blah. Buckling under the heat. Yabsley, Yabsley. Who cares about him? Anonymous loser. And scroll down a bit. I have had my say, he told me Sunday. And then the rest is just quoting other people. And what Don Cherry said on hockey night. So I think Ron McClean's lying. Lesson to Don and me. No, I don't think you have the authority to speak for Don Cherry. I think you're stabbing him in the back and you don't speak for him. And you've made your choice that you're a Yabsleyite. Bart Yabsley, the name you know. I think Ron McClean is a coward and a Quisling and an untrue friend and disloyal. And more than that, he's unjust. Don Cherry said nothing wrong, did nothing wrong. And we know that Ron McClean believes that because Ron McClean was nodding and gave the thumbs up. So Ron McClean did respond. Don't lie. Don't lie, Ron. We got the videotape. Don't lie, you liar. So we saw that Ron McClean did react. He reacted as any normal Canadian would. This whole thing has been a tempest in the teacup by Don Cherry's rivals. Jealous liberals in the media that no one cares about, which Ron McClean himself would be were he not lucky enough to hitch his wagon to Don Cherry's star. I think that Bart Yabsley is a loser, and I say again, may they lose so much money for their shareholders. May they be punished, like Gillette was punished when they decided to turn against men in their Gillette ads. I think they lost $8 billion or something. I pray that befalls Sportsnet because they deserve it. You know, get woke, go broke. But who cares about Bart Yabsley? He's interchangeable with 1,000 other identical corporate robots. But Ron McClean has had a blessing of his life by Don Cherry, and he throws Don Cherry under the bus at the first opportunity because he is a cowardly, Quisling, disloyal. May you never have a friend as false as Ron McClean, someone who is a liar. And it's one thing had Ron McClean said, I was wrong to have agreed with it. But you saw he was saying, I didn't respond, I didn't know what was going on. It was all happening so fast, and I'm an inexperienced man who doesn't know anything, and boy, I've learned a lot, and let me just drop a little Aboriginal wisdom on you, because Chief lies through his teeth. Ron McClean wants to give you a little bit of Aboriginal wisdom. Shut up, shut up. Why don't you quote Black Lives Matter too, you lying hypocrite? Oh my God. Yeah, I see somebody, it's discriminate. It's Buoy's Hui says, yeah, it's racist to people kind. That's very funny. Karen Patriot, I lost respect for Ron McClean when he was whining about his contract. I think there's a super chat. Let me just go up and find it. Oh, I think I missed it. It was from Primpal08. Maybe I'll get that a little bit later. You know what? It's just been unbelievable, the gulf here between how the media party reacts and how citizens react. Oh, I have the super chats here. Primpal08, Trudeau blackface is no big deal. Don Cherry gets upset about people not wearing the poppy. It's racism. Disgusting. That is a great point. And I think, I was saying to the team this morning, the over-the-top reaction here is, I think, the expiation of guilt from the media party who were so silent during the whole blackface thing. Oh, that happened when he was only 29, so he was like a child. He was just a teacher in a school, and that was just, he was 29, so come on, guys, he didn't mean it. The fact that he can't even narrow down to the nearest 5 or 10, he can't even round it down or up. How many times? Come on, guys, it's no big deal. So you had 2 months of journalists saying, blackface is no big deal. So I think they're venting all their emotions and guilt on Don Cherry here, who's not a racist. Scott Coulter, McLean bowed to commies, Islamo-Nazis. I don't really see the commies or Islamic aspect here. I think it's just political correctness. Hey, we started a petition. Did I tell you? Can you go to supportdoncherry.com? So I want to encourage you to support Don Cherry. And put it up on the screen. supportdoncherry.com. And can you scroll down to the wording of the petition? Go way down, way down, way down, way down. Okay. Don Cherry is right. More Canadians need to wear poppies. Immigrants to Canada need to be taught about our Remembrance Day traditions. And Don Cherry should not be censored for speaking on behalf of so many patriotic Canadians, including new Canadians. So we just launched this. Looks like we've got 25 signatures. Do you think we can get that up to 5,000 by the end of the day? Will you take a moment and go right now to supportdoncherry.com? Let's put supportdoncherry.com in the headline of this live stream, if we can edit that. I don't know if that's editable on the fly like that. It's very dangerous. I'm actually going to try and do that here. Support Don, I better type it right, doncherry.com. Visit supportdoncherry.com. I'm actually editing this on live TV. I hope I don't break everything here, break the internet. There we go. I want to show you just a sample of some of the reaction out there. Can I show you John Moore? He's some radio host in Toronto. Check this gorgeousness out. It is not an insignificant coincidence that Don Cherry's rant about newcomers not being sufficiently Canadian took place on the anniversary of Kristallnacht. Hey guys, do you know what Kristallnacht is? Kristallnacht is a German word, as you can tell. Nacht is night, and crystal as you can tell. It's like glass. So Kristallnacht is Night of the Broken Glass. It was, I think it was 1938. I'd have to double check. I don't remember off by heart. When it was basically a Nazi riot, a coordinated, massive Nazi riot across Germany. And the word Kristallnacht because they smashed so many windows in Jewish shops and synagogues, and there was arson, and they burned down shops and burned down synagogues. And so it's called Kristallnacht, and it was sort of a premonition of what was to come. And an interesting detail about that was that, of course, there was insurance back then, so most of these claims were insurable, but Hitler forced the Jews to pay for the repairs themselves and to indemnify the insurance companies. It was just the beginning of, by this point it was 1938, I think. The Nuremberg laws had been passed several years earlier. It was the eve of the Holocaust. Things were about to get extremely bad. Could you imagine how woke you have to be to compare Don Cherry and his love for our troops who fought and beat Nazis, to compare Don Cherry's love for our troops who broke the Nazis to the Nazis? Can you imagine using the Holocaust as a talking point to own Don Cherry? How gross are you? Don Cherry was not racist. John Moore trivialized the Holocaust and used it as a political talking point. But what leftist doesn't? They call their opponents Nazis all the time. It's not even unique. How are we doing with that? I just told you about the petition we just signed. And it looks like it's 140 signatures already. I'm just checking right now. If you go to the page there, just click refresh. 149 signatures. Just 5 minutes ago, we had 25. So thank you, everybody, and feel free to share this. I want to give this petition to Sportsnet, to the Quisling Ron McClean, and to Don Cherry himself. I haven't had a chance to look through all the social media detritus yet, but I see someone says the website is stuck. I hope not. 149 people managed to sign it, so hopefully you can too. Petition link doesn't work. Uh-oh, 2 people say the same thing. In my skimming of social media yesterday, all the critics I found were either liberal politicians. Can you go to my Twitter feed? I think I linked a couple of liberal MPs. Oh, and the mayor of Toronto, the execrable John Tory. He's the worst in many ways. You might recall that a week or 2 ago, there was a feminist named Megan Murphy who wanted to come to Toronto to talk about how women's rights and women's spaces are being eliminated by trans women, as in men who say they're women. And this is, from women's sports that are being just eliminated by trans men coming in, to even, incredibly, rape shelters. I know that sounds hard to believe. Megan Murphy 5 years ago would be called just a feminist, but now she's called an anti-transphobe or something. I don't know. She's too radical feminist for me, but her point about women being eliminated by trans men is exactly right. But even if you think she's exactly wrong, she was coming to the Toronto Public Library to give a talk about it. Libraries are places of free thought. And it's no surprise that angry trans men tried to get Megan Murphy banned from the library. Why not drive out a woman's voice? Why not silence a woman's voice? It's very much in keeping with the trans agenda. But John Tory, the mayor of Toronto, Do we even have that clip? Remember we used that clip the other day? John Tory actually said that the library should ban her. Yeah, I don't know if we can find it. It was an incredible comment. He said, well, the library should be independent. Okay, that's the right answer. And then he immediately tacked on, but I have contacted them and told them to ban her. What? Were you the same guy who just said the first half of that sentence? John Tory is the Ron McClean of mayors, wouldn't you say? Cowardly, spineless, believes in nothing, will say anything. He really is the Bart Yabsley. He's actually the Bart Yabsley of mayors, isn't he? Just an absolutely interchangeable, unremarkable man of low accomplishment. I suppose being the mayor of Toronto, you could say, is a high accomplishment. I don't know. Here, take a look at the clip. You got the clip, do we? Here.
I said that I thought that when it came to public buildings, we had to set the highest of standards when it comes to comments that are taken as offensive by segments, potentially large segments of the community. And so the library has its own policy with respect to when people should and should not be able to rent rooms on their premises. They have taken the decision in this case that this particular person should be able to give their talk in a library building. I don't think it's appropriate for politicians to substitute their judgment for actually making these decisions, because we have a duly appointed library board and we have library management who oversee a written policy in this regard. I simply indicated I was disappointed at that decision. My office asked the library to reconsider the decision. They indicated that they had carefully studied it and were not going to reconsider it. I gather the library union has also asked them to reconsider. But in this case, when you deal with the other part we have to balance, which is freedom of speech and freedom of expression, I would just say there are thousands of other places, hotel rooms, offices, anywhere that they could have this meeting so this person could say what it is she has to say. And while I disagree with and find her particular point of view on these things personally offensive, there's lots of things that happen in places in Toronto that you find you disagree with. And I would just say in a public building, we have an obligation to set a higher standard, and that's why I'm disappointed in this decision.
So which side are you on, you vacillating jellyfish? There were so, like we saw about 4 flip-flops in the course of 2 minutes there. He started off by saying some things that some segments might find offensive. Someone's going to find anything offensive, you twit. And then he said, it's up to the library. Okay, that's the right answer. Stop talking there, you moron. And then he says, but I had my office call them and tell them to reverse their decision. You just said it was up to them. You utter prat. And then, oh my God. So yeah, that same John Tory, who just finished telling a library to ban someone, has for some reason, like at least I understand, it's called the Toronto Public Library. And that Pratt is the mayor of Toronto. So I can understand why someone would ask the mayor what he thinks about it. But he's weighing in on Don Cherry. Do you have John Tory's tweets there? Don Cherry is way off base to question the devotion of newer Canadians to the very same veterans and the sacrifices we will honor tomorrow on Remembrance Day. His comments are unfair and just plain wrong. Mr. Cherry should come to Old City Hall tomorrow, where he would see thousands of Canadians of all ages, nationalities, faith, and background honoring our veterans and demonstrating their love for Canada and our precious way of life as they do every year. So go up a little bit. His comments are unfair and just plain wrong. Question the devotion of newer Canadians. Let's play Don Cherry's comments again. John Tory is a stupid weirdo who can't even maintain a train of thought for 2 minutes talking about libraries. Look at how he just miscast what Don Cherry actually said. Play what Don Cherry actually said and compare it to that mayor.
You know, I was talking to a veteran. I said, I'm not going to run the poppy thing anymore because what's the sense? I live in Mississauga. Nobody wears, very few people wear a poppy. Downtown Toronto, forget it, downtown Toronto. Nobody wears a poppy. And I'm not going to. He says, wait a minute. How about running it for the people that buy them? Now you go to the small cities, and you know those the rows on rows. You people love they come here, whatever it is. You love our way of life. You love our milk and honey. At least you could pay a couple of bucks for poppies or something like that. These guys pay for your way of life that you enjoy in Canada. These guys paid the biggest price. Anyhow, I'm going to run it again for you great people and good Canadians that bought a poppy. I'm still going to run it anyhow.
Love you for it.
Love you for it, Judas says before he stabbed him. You know what? Can you play that one more time? I want to count how many times Ron McClean nods. Because that quisling underminer, false friend, true enemy, Judas. We'll play his fake apology in a minute, but let's count together, my friends, how many times Ron McClean nodded. Let's just count. Can you play that whole clip one more time? Whoops. We'll play the clip one more time. Let's count.
You know, I was talking to a veteran. I said, I'm not going to run the poppy thing anymore because what's the sense? I live in Mississauga. Nobody wears, very few people wear a poppy. Downtown Toronto, forget it, downtown Toronto. Nobody wears a poppy. And I'm not going to. He says, wait a minute. How about running it for the people that buy them? Now you go to the small cities, and you know those the rows on rows. You people love they come here, whatever it is. You love our way of life. You love our milk and honey. At least you could pay a couple of bucks for poppies or something like that. These guys pay for your way of life that you enjoy in Canada. These guys paid the biggest price. Anyhow, I'm going to run it again for you great people and good Canadians that bought a poppy. I'm still going to run it anyhow.
Love you for it.
I counted, love you for it. I counted 6 sort of groups of nods. Sometimes it was just a little bit. 6 nods, love you for it, and then the thumbs up. And let's play his fake apology one more time. Where he said, what did he say? Something that he didn't notice or something? Here.
Address what happened last night on Hockey Night in Canada. Don Cherry made remarks which were hurtful, discriminatory, which were flat out wrong. We at Sportsnet have apologized. It certainly doesn't stand for what Sportsnet or Rogers represents. We know diversity is the strength of the country. We see it in the travels with our show and with Hockey Night in Canada. So I owe you an apology too. That's the big thing that I want to emphasize. I sat there, did not catch it, did not respond. Catherine Tenise, Tsuut'ina First Nation, once said, in any wrongdoing, the real key is recognition and acknowledgement. And I wanted to let you know that first, and then you work on the relationship so that it isn't divisive, so that something can be a unifying event. Idle No More was a great lesson to all of us. Last night was a really great lesson to Don and me. We were wrong, and I sincerely apologize, and I wanted to thank you for calling me and Don on that last night.
I did not catch it, did not respond. You're lying, Ron. You're lying. Super Chat came in. Let's take a look. Thor's daughter bear. We have our freedoms today because of courageous young men who fought and died bravely. And Ron can't even withstand a few days of fake outrage or risk his job. Weak men are a danger to our freedom. I think you're right. I'm going to go over and check to see how the petition is doing. Are we tweeting it? Is the Rebel Twitter account tweeting that? It is up. We're at 302, which is good. I want to get that up to, do you think we can get 5,000 today? I think we can. Okay, I'm going to close this window. I think Ron McClean actually tweeted a written statement too. Can we find that? Because I think there might even be a discrepancy between what he said verbally and what he wrote. I'd like to take a look at that. In the meantime, Luke Macy's, Cherry is right, sorry not sorry. Crushing all deceivers. I support Don Cherry, his comments, and our veterans. Oh, here we go. Here's Ron McClean. I want to sincerely apologize to our viewers and Canadians. During last night's broadcast, Don made comments that were hurtful and prejudiced, and I wish I had handled myself differently. It was a divisive moment, and I'm truly upset with myself for allowing it. I've worked with Don for 30 years, and we both love hockey. Last night, I know we failed you. I see hockey as part of what unites us. I have the honor of traveling across our country to celebrate Canada's game, and our diversity is one of our country's greatest strengths. So here he says I wish I had handled myself differently. Okay. But then in his verbal statement, let me get this accurate. He said, I did not catch it. I did not respond. Well, which one is it? Which one is it? Did you catch it and respond? Or did you not? I think Ron McClean might even be a liar. I'm not sure. Yeah, and Sean Feld chips in $10. Thank you for that. Terry Lawrence, I just signed and shared. Smith, John, you seriously don't have anything better to talk about? Well, that's a fair point in that what he said on TV was, in my mind, unremarkable and should have been inconsequential, other than maybe he would have gotten more hockey fans to wear a puppy. It was the stimulated and simulated outrage that is so completely dominant that I'm reacting to. If Don Cherry simply said what he said, I wouldn't care, because I'd say, yeah, good point. Can you call up, and I retweeted one of them, a Liberal MP, Fragicastos or something, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his last name. A Liberal MP tweeted, actually a bunch of Liberal MPs now are weighing in on this, and I don't like that much, because of course it's one thing for Sportsnet and Bart Yabsley to be woke, go broke, as I hope they do. But it's another thing when the government weighs in. Now, I already said when Mayor John Tory weighs in, how's that his business? I could understand Mayor John Tory talking about the Toronto Public Library, and he did an awful job there. The mayor's talking about Sportsnet. The mayor doesn't have any power over Sportsnet, though, of course. Sportsnet is a TV channel. It's regulated by a federal regulator called the CRTC, which is appointed by and responsible to the federal parliament. So when federal MPs in the governing party start to mouth off, that's when I get scared. Did you find that one? Here, let's take a look. Peter Fragiskatos. He simply needs to leave hockey night. It's time. And look underneath there. Tim Hogan, would you support a full inquiry? Oh, it's a SNC. I thought that was going to say HNIC, Hockey Night in Canada. You know, funny. But of course, Peter Fragiskatos has no problem working for Mr. Blackface Groper. He didn't say Justin Trudeau just has to leave. There was no moral lesson in blackface. It wasn't malapropism. It wasn't just something that could have been phrased perhaps more artfully. When you dress up in blackface, that is a deliberate act. Don Cherry certainly, obviously, did not mean offense, and offense has been falsely taken. Here's one from Rosemary Barton, who is citing Bruce Arthur. Bruce Arthur is a sports columnist who says Don Cherry should go. But then he should have gone a long time ago. And Rosemary Barton, of course, is the Liberal partisan who is a CBC reporter. She's the one who actually personally sued the Conservative Party during the election. This is well written and well argued. Bruce Arthur, do you know how to do an advanced search? Go to the search from : Bruce Arthur, blackface. Because that same Bruce Arthur who just argued that Don Cherry's got to go. And remember, Bruce Arthur and Don Cherry are competitors. They're both journalists. It's just that one is fabulously successful and wealthy. Don Cherry, and the other's a bit of a whiny woke loser. That same Bruce Arthur, if you do from colon and then Bruce Arthur's exact handle without the ampersand at the front, and then just the word blackface. I might have even retweeted it if you look on my feed. He was absolutely forgiving of Justin Trudeau just a few weeks ago for blackface. That same guy. Here, I'll find it. So it's bad faith, is what I'm saying. Sorry, I'm going rather slowly. I'm not going to look for it while I'm live here. But Bruce Arthur repeated tweet after tweet saying, come on, Justin Trudeau apologized. It was a long time ago. Can't we all move on? I mean, come on. So for the most important position in the country, the Prime Minister, the political leader, the leader of the government, possibly the moral exemplar for the nation, come on, guys, it was just blackface. Okay, fine, he did it so many times he lost track, but come on, guys, move on, no biggie. But for a sportscaster, oh my God, fire him. What is that? But professional jealousy mixed with virtue signaling and moral cowardice. The Northern Alex, I am an immigrant, I served, and I wear a poppy. There you go. That's the thing. I must remark that I see quite a number of cadets selling poppies who are new Canadians, including Chinese immigrants. Yeah, here's an example. So many people don't get that a lot of progressives condemn Trudeau's blackface, but also that he apologized for it, guys. And he's enacted several progressive policies when it comes to race. So he's not perfect, guys. And neither is Canada, but I mean, it's really simplistic thinking for you to be so mean to him. Oh my God, he actually tweeted that just yesterday. Just yesterday, he was defending blackface Trudeau, but saying Don Cherry's got to resign. I should tell you this is completely contrived. This is completely made up. No real people are talking about this other than agreeing with him and reacting to the cancel culture. This is not a real thing. This is a concoction, a confection of the media party. They've hated Don Cherry for a very long time. Are we tweeting support Don Cherry? I hope we are, because we got to get people to sign it. 383 signatures. I think I'm going to stop refreshing that button because it'll get there. It's not bad. We've only been talking about it for about half an hour. Let's take some more comments. I'm just Rebel News online. I'm just curious to see if we're pushing it. I think we need to tweet about it a little bit more. A couple of super chats here. Sorry, guys, I was a little bit distracted. I think we haven't started pushing this petition yet. I was just checking that. And I think we've got to do that. Okay, let's get back to the super chat. Sorry, I was distracted a little bit there. I already read I'm an immigrant, I served. Thank you very much for your service. I can't quite find the other one speedily. That's okay. I'll just read some other comments here. If you could resend that to me, that'd be great. Mark Turmel, John Cherry for PM. Chris Trottier, I tweeted it to John Tory himself. CMAL, put the petition in the chat. That's a good idea. Can you send an email to Kathy and Margaret to have the petition put in the chat and for them to tweet the petition? Thanks. Peter Montagnon, I'm a third generation Patricia. Both my grandfathers and my father fought in the Second World War. Good for Don. Well, I'm sorry, you're asking for more than we can give, would be Trudeau's response. Daniel Maranzana, Cherry for PM. I don't even think the guy has an Order of Canada. How's that even possible? Gabe Duguay, drag queen story time in libraries will come to Canada soon, I bet, but feminists not allowed. Oh, it's been here for years, drag queen story time. Yeah, in fact, the Toronto Drag Queen Storytime, they announced they're boycotting the Toronto Public Library because of that Megan Murphy, to which I say thank you. Aaron Smith, $5. Shame on Ron. We should never apologize for supporting vets. Stand with Don. Yeah, isn't that the truth? I find it very odd that I think the media hates the military. They hate veterans, and they have to pretend at least one day a year not to hate them. If you compare how the media treats Omar Khadr to how they treat even ordinary vets, you can see my point. Don Cherry is the kind of guy who supports the vets year-round, not just on November 11th. They hate him. They've hated him for a long time. And this is just everyone coming in and stabbing him, thinking that they can actually knock him out. And if Bart Yabsley is correct, that is the zeitgeist of Sportsnet. And certainly all the fancy people agree. I think a real opinion poll would show like 80% in favor of Don Cherry, 20%, 90% don't care, and 1% agreed to censor him. And that would be just journalists answering the phone. D. Mora, $10. Keep up the good fight, Rebel. All right, we will. Yeah, I mean, I'm just, I am stunned. Like I said, I first heard of this scandal on Twitter. So then I went to see the tape for myself. And when I looked at the tape for myself, I thought, okay, where's the racist part? Did I miss it? No. Let's play the Don Cherry clip itself again. My point is, I saw this and I said, okay, where's the part about race or immigrants or anything like that? Take a look.
You know, I was talking to a veteran. I said, I'm not going to run the poppy thing anymore because what's the sense? I live in Mississauga. Nobody wears, very few people wear poppy. Downtown Toronto, forget it, downtown Toronto. Nobody wears the poppy. And I'm not going to. He says, wait a minute. How about running it for the people that buy them? Now, you go to the small cities, and you know the rows on rows. You people love you. They come here, whatever it is. You love our way of life. You love our milk and honey. At least you could pay a couple of bucks for poppies or something like that. These guys pay for your way of life that you enjoy in Canada. These guys paid the biggest price. Anyhow, I'm going to run it again for you great people and good Canadians that bought a poppy. I'm still going to run it anyhow.
Love you for it.
Love you for it, friend. Oh, I'm getting a message from Bart Yabsley in my ear. I've got to stab you in the back, my friend. I love you, my friend. That's almost like the mafia's bacio di tutti baci. I'm going to give you the kiss of all kisses before I kill you. That's Ron McClean for you. If you got a friend like Ron McClean, it's worse than having an enemy. I think having Ron McClean as your friend is more dangerous than having him as your enemy, don't you think? I see a super chat from Mad Dog Steve. Jewish Zio media is using this as a distraction. Well, I'm Jewish and I'm a Zionist and I'm in the media. So maybe you're referring to me. I'm not using it as a distraction. I'm reacting to the media party and their attempt to get rid of the last conservative voice in the mainstream media. And it's not actually a distraction at all. It's a purging of the last conservative pop culture hero. Don Cherry's bigger than anyone else in Canada. So they're trying to kill him here. Now the thing is, if they do, I think we're going to have a Gillette-style situation where they'll do themselves a huge amount of damage. Now, that's not going to get people to stop watching hockey in Canada, but I think they'll do a huge amount of damage to their brand. And like I say, I hope they lose an enormous amount of money. Barry Prince chips in $10. Thanks very much. Marie Mora, God bless Jews. Well, thank you very much, speaking as one of them. Rational phobia. I am an immigrant and I stand with Don Cherry. Our enemies are people like Ron McClean and basically liberal voters. I love this country and I fully support its values. Well, thank you very much. Elizabeth, I love you, friend. Bye now. Okay. Daniel Maranzana. I love how none of the people claiming he's racist actually break down the video. Well, that's the thing. There's a lot of talk around it, but if you actually play it, and we've played it about 4 times here today, I don't see it. Could he have been 5% more careful with his language, more categorical in his language? Yeah, but he's Don Cherry. He's the king of malapropisms and quirky idiosyncrasies. That's his shtick. Oh, he was also wearing an outrageous outfit again. Actually, he wasn't, was he? Getting mad at Don Cherry for imperfect phraseology is like getting mad at Don Cherry for wearing his collar's too high. That's part of the brand, people. Ed Ruckman, Zionists are the enemy. Well, no, I don't think so. At least I don't think so. I am one. And of course, the word Zionist comes from the Bible, Mount Zion, which is both a holy place to Jews and Christians. It's in the Bible. So I think you're wrong. Newfoundland expat. You people is anyone who thinks of themselves as a Canadian second. I support Don. Yeah, I think when he says you people, I think he's talking to people who come to Canada but don't appreciate the sacrifices that were necessary to make it full of milk and honey. I find what he said completely unobjectionable, and it should be unremarkable. The reason it was remarkable was because he's the only guy saying it, and they want to stamp him out. Faye Knox, he said nothing racist. Wayne Kuzek, I'm going to love the day when CBC will have to go on its own. Yeah, when's that day going to happen? Justin Trudeau will probably give it a raise, and Andrew Scheer promised the same. L.A. Fant, Don Cherry, good Canadian kid, Ron McClean, lick spit, aimed at the truth. First of all, if my boss's name was, what was that name again? That weird name, Bart Yabsley. If anyone named Bart Yabsley came in to lecture me, I would have trouble not giggling, even if it was my boss. Sometimes you have to laugh, but you can't laugh, so you you squeeze or you poke or you prick yourself so the pain overcomes you. You know what I'm talking about? You try and force yourself not to laugh. If someone named Bart Yabsley, for some reason I'm thinking of Paul Blart, Mall Cop. He would come in on a Segway. So if Bart Yabsley came into my office on a Segway and said, "You've got to apologize," I would be biting my tongue so hard so the pain would make it so I wouldn't laugh out loud. Bart Yabsley, clean up on aisle 5, Bart Yabsley. If Bart Yabsley was telling me to apologize, I would have a tough time doing so. I honestly would. Trish Farron, Don Cherry's a poppy himself, in that he's a living remembrance of the troops. There may be some truth to it. Tetragrammaton, post-nationalism is the process or trend by which nation states and national identities lose their importance. Okay. Anime Canuck, remind us which bill it is that lets Justin put people who offend him in jail. C-16, C-69. How is the progress on his stupid appeal against the rebel? Okay, C-69 is the anti-tankership bill. Actually, the anti-pipeline bill, pardon me. C-48 is the tanker bill. His appeal against the rebel, the notice of appeal has been filed, but we don't have a date for the appeal yet because we don't have the reasons for the decision yet. It's the craziest appeal ever. How can you appeal a decision that hasn't been published yet? You don't even know what's in it. How can you appeal it? But the federal government has done that. Folks, it's 1 p.m. I've enjoyed the course of the last hour with you. Before I go, let me invite you to go to our petition page and sign it. It's support doncherry.com. And right now it has 539 signatures if you scroll down. 539. So we've been talking for about an hour. Oh, yeah, just click refresh on that thing. And I got 539 on my screen when I clicked refresh. Spread the word. Tweet it. There we go, 539. All right, I'm going to talk more about this tonight at 8 p.m., so I got to get going because I got to write that show. Spread the word. Can you do me a favor? Spread the word about this petition. Let's see if we can't get it up to 1,000 names by 2 p.m. That should be easy. And I think we should get by 5,000 names by tonight, don't you think? All right. Until tonight, on behalf of all of us here at Rebel World Headquarters, to you at home, good night, and keep fighting for freedom.